Trust is gone. Gotta break up. Help me on how to please. I am in a 4 years relationship, 45M, with my girlfriend, 39F, and it's always been kind of bumpy. We had a few huge fights and I feel like we never really solved our problems, we just moved on and put our issues under the mat. We've done one session of couples counseling and I realized, just there, how much I don't trust her anymore. She lied in the past, around 1 year ago, in a business trip. Maybe she cheated, crashed totally drunk at her friend hotel room mail from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. after a huge party. That was a congress in Miami. That's work. I found out by snooping at her phone, bad stuff, please never do it. I did and I regret it bitterly. I chose to believe in her story. Forgive and move on. After a full year of working on my emotions and my faith in the relationship, she talks about a new business trip, but does it without any care for my feelings. I ask for words of reassurance. She can't promise me she'll never get drunk during a congress. Says I'm controlling, when, actually, I've came to learn through therapy that those are my boundaries and not an act of control over my partner. During couples counseling she agreed that regardless whatever happened in that room, that was cheating. It was inappropriate. She understands me from a rational point of view but can't sympathize with my feelings, as she did nothing wrong with the guy and wanted to catch an Uber after sobering up a little, 6 damn hours to sober up. During individual therapy, I came to learn that she's gaslighting me and manipulating my decisions through my feelings. She's been physically and emotionally unavailable for a few months now. Even before the fight, we were not okay. I already have a support group waiting for me. My lovely family and the holidays season. She's on a trip now and should be back tomorrow evening. How do I do it? Do I insist in couples counseling and try to see things through? I have to break up, but I am super attached to her emotionally and this could take a toll on me. I have serious issues with rejection and breakups. Okay, now things got a bit weird here on my side. Last week, me and my partner agreed on breaking up and ending our relationship. I took the initiative and talked to her about it. Since then, we've been cohabitating in a civilized manner while being separated. Thing is, out of the blue, she suggests we should have a farewell over wine and party one last time. I said hell no, but, I'm sorry. I'm only human. After a few talks, I gave in. We rock and rolled all night, swore eternal love to each other and made promises to work on our marriage. I know, I'm a up. Next day, I'm all confused and all messed up during work, hungover, what now? Then, I come back home waiting for some connection to talk about last night. She was distant, didn't say a thing and was avoiding physical contact. Basically, she was stonewalling me. She even took a nap to avoid contact. When she woke up I had to ask, so what are we, and I get the cold-blooded what we talked before. Come on, last night we were intoxicated, those were just words. Dude, I had to hear those words. Reality check espresso. Then, today, I spent a lot of time reflecting on everything that happened in the last few days. I realized, after some conversations with other people, that, again, I was manipulated through my feelings and I gave up my body and my vows of love to a person who needs validation and admiration from third parties, narcissistic behavior. She saw that I was pulling away and regained control with sex and manipulation. I would still have to live with this person until the end of the year, or, believe me, until January 7th, when the apartment would be handed over. I decided it was time to act. I don't want this person in my life anymore, they have the key to get into my head. I needed to protect myself. And now, it must be final. I went to her, as soon as she got home from work, and went over the list of reasons why our interaction should be minimal from then on. I said I felt used, abused, and lied to again. After that, I stood up and said that I didn't believe her story and that I would share the information with her supposed AP's wife. She followed me, threatened me with reporting abuse to the police, threatened me with revealing to everyone in our social circle that I was crazy, I'm bipolar, said that I would face dire consequences if I sent anything to her supposed AP's wife. I told her that I had my cell phone in my hand and I recorded all her threats. Showed her and she froze. Well, then. I sent the message to the guy's wife. The message contains only dates, times and facts that could be tracked down in Google Maps, Uber and messaging apps. I told her only the facts that I was aware of and that they spent one night together in a business trip, but I had no proof that they had sex. See link above, okay? At no moment did the conversation escalate, there was no shouting, there was no physical contact. So, I think I'm safe from any retaliation from her, but a bomb exploded in the guy's house today. She finally left, her brother came over, took her in his car, she's out. I'm free from her spell. Story 2. Probably one of the worst cheating stories ever. I feeling nothing. I'm numb. I decided to finally get this off my chest, even though this happened fairly. I'm a stay-at-home mom, or at least I was. I had my first child with my partner, a beautiful baby boy, back in May of this year. The new addition to our little family, including his daughter from a previous relationship that I took care of as my own and refers to me as mommy. I was so excited to have a family of my own. I've worked most of my life, including my entire pregnancy, so being a stay-at-home mom was very new to me. In the beginning it was extremely challenging, but eventually I got the hang of it. My partner would handle majority of the bills and expenses while I'd take care of the kids, housework, dinner, and make his lunches for work. My partner worked overnight shifts, so on top of taking care of the children, I was in charge of waking him up for work, which wasn't an easy task at all. Much like a child, he'd throw fits and yell as I attempt to wake him alarm after alarm, all the while I cook dinner and get the kids ready for bed. Eventually he'd wake up, but not let it be too late, because then it'd be my fault. I will say my partner was mostly faithful, with some slip-up where I'd catch texts of him flirting with coworkers or old flings, and we had one big cheating incident a few weeks before I went into labor. Why I stayed? I don't know. Helplessness? Wanting a family of my own like I never had? I don't know. Maybe. After the birth of my son, things seemed to be getting better. My partner worked hard and was promoted twice in less than a year, bringing in more money to our household and boosting his ego. I continued to do my part: cook, clean, make his lunch, and wake him for work. One night I'm doing my usual routine cooking, making his lunch, and then I wake him for work. But, this time something felt off. My intuition was telling me something. I tried to fight these thoughts, but I just couldn't. That night after he left for work, I went for my usual run after I put the kids to bed, having my sister look after them. I'd run through our apartment complex and to a trail not too far. Shockingly, while on my run I saw my partner's car parked at different part of our complex, and my heart sunk into my chest. Why was he here? He said he was going to work. I checked my phone and lo and behold, his location was turned off. Funny enough, we only shared locations as his idea to prove his loyalty to me. He comes home earlier than usual the next day. I act clueless, I don't know what to think. He comes in bearing gifts, but I could hardly make eye contact because my mind is racing with suspicion. As he showers like clockwork, I check his phone. To my surprise, I see text messages between him and young lady who lives in the same apartment building as us. He's telling her how he's on his way to her to give her vitamin D. They just met the day before. My heart sinks. He had me wake him up, make him lunch, and look me in my eyes and said he was leaving for work. This was the ultimate betrayal. How could he do this? I hear the water stop. I quickly jump and put the phone back where I found it. This is where I go completely numb. He hops out the shower talking to me normally. I act oblivious and ask him about work. He says it was any easy night. I bet it was. Another day passes. It's time for him to go to work again. This time I check his phone before because I had that same feeling again. And like last time, he was pretending again. So I played along. I made his lunch extra special this time. I seasoned every dish with as much Morton salt as I could. I filled his fancy flask with dishwater. I made his sandwiches that he loves so much with spit and old fish grease. I kissed him goodbye and told him I loved him with so much excitement. Later that night, when I went on my run and saw his car parked once again in the same spot, I lost it. I went upstairs to our apartment and grabbed every messy condiment I could find and I decorated his car. I filled it with the trash he'd been neglecting to take out. Dirty Pampers, rotten tissue, waste, etc. I blacked out. I couldn't wait for him to see the mess I made. It could be worse. This is the beginning of when you break a person. Story 3. I think my girlfriend is cheating on me with her brother. I, M31, have been living with my girlfriend, F29, now for 3 years and everything has seemingly been fine. We are both close with our families, so I have never found it weird that she wants to spend so much time with them, but it's come to my attention recently the way she acts with her brother, M26. I know it's pretty late in the relationship to be discovering this, but as far as I've seen online, this kind of thing happens within the family fairly often. Her and I are both pretty introverted and like to stay in, but if her brother invites her out, she dresses her best, better than she ever dresses for me if we go out, and always quickly agrees. She'd been spending the night at his house more and more often recently and always comes home wearing clothes that were borrowed from him. When I'm with them in person, it seems like she's pretty touchy with him, and the way she makes eye contact with him kind of scares me. How do I confront her about this? Am I sick for even thinking this to be a possibility? Okay, quick update. This is her real brother. I've been to multiple family functions, including him. I have thought about her using him as an alibi, but they always have a way to prove they're together. Whenever they go out, they say it's a siblings' night, and I'll be invited another time. I don't know why she spends the night there. He does live alone and is currently single. It might be because they're too drunk to get her home, but the bars and club are a short Uber away from our house, so I don't know why she wouldn't come back home. The reason I don't just want to leave is because everything we have is tied together and things, especially right now, are extremely expensive, so just moving out and getting a new place would not be easy. I'm going to talk to her tonight when she's off work and see if there's anything she's hiding from me. I won't accuse her of sleeping with her brother, but I'll make it known how I feel and what my concerns are. Thank you for all the responses. Another update: I will not confront her tonight. I believe you are all right that I need to gather hard evidence to show her before I make a move like that. I don't want to follow her, as that is too much for me. Going through her phone is a possibility, though I do feel as though that it is pretty invasive, and I don't just want to ask her straight up to go through her phone. Does anyone else have suggestions in this? Update: I went through her phone when she got home and there are multiple men she's talking to. She goes to her brother's to sleep with them. There were multiple texts back and forth from her brother, with him calling her sexy and even pics of her in a bikini, so I don't know if they're sleeping together or not, but it's a weird relationship either way. I'm extremely hurt, but thank you for the advice, people. I don't know what I'm gonna do from here.